Imagine waking up in the quiet of the morning, feeling well rested, and starting your day with the most routine habit, a simple trip to the bathroom. As you prepare for the day ahead, you notice something a bit different today, a layer of foam or persistent small bubbles in the toilet bowl that doesn't seem to disappear. Most people glance at it for a second, shrug their shoulders, and think it's just the strength of the stream, especially since there is no accompanying pain or obvious physical discomfort. However, in my clinical practice, I have seen that this small visual detail is often a coded message from your body that should not be ignored. Those lingering bubbles are frequently the first visible sign of a silent process happening deep within your kidneys, specifically in the delicate microscopic filters that clean your blood. When these filters begin to leak, certain proteins that should stay in your circulation, the texture of your urine changes, creating a foam that serves as a quiet but important warning for your long-term health. It is very easy to overlook what doesn't cause pain, but these bubbles often point to a condition known as proteinuria, where your vital organs are under invisible stress. This leaky filter effect can develop over many years due to daily habits or blood pressure changes that you might not even feel yet. We are going to examine exactly why this sign is most evident when you first wake up and look at a specific hidden factor that many people miss, which could be the key to protecting your vitality. In our time together today, we are going to look closely at why this foam appears and what it truly says about your internal vitality. Many people assume that as we cross 60, these changes are just a normal part of getting older. But that is a common misconception that can lead to missed opportunities for protection. We will reveal how a specific, subtle pattern in your daily routine might be putting extra pressure on those vital filters without you ever feeling a single pang of pain. If you want to learn how to recognize these quiet signals your body sends during the night and early morning, you can follow me here on this channel. Beyond the foam itself, there is a second, even more surprising factor that rarely gets discussed in standard medical checkups. This hidden element involves a very specific evening habit that many of us consider completely harmless, yet it might be the very thing causing those microscopic membranes to leak more than they ever should. As we move forward, you will begin to see how everything is connected, from the density of those small bubbles to how your body handles circulation while you are resting. But there is one particular error, something many people do right before heading to bed, that serves as a silent catalyst for this filtration decline. Understanding this detail changes how we view our morning observations entirely, and I will explain exactly what that is and how it impacts your longevity as we go deeper. Now that we understand the visual sign, we must look at a common evening habit that acts as a silent trigger for those bubbles. Many people unknowingly consume high amounts of hidden salts during their final meal or through late-night processed snacks. While it seems harmless, this intake forces your system to work much harder during the night. Instead of resting, your body struggles to manage extra fluid, placing a heavy physical burden on your internal filtration membranes right when they should be recovering. When this internal pressure remains high while you sleep, it stretches the delicate mesh that keeps your blood clean. Think of it like a fine kitchen sieve developing larger holes because it is being pushed too hard. This leads to a condition called proteinuria, which simply means vital proteins are leaking out of your body instead of staying in your circulation. If you want to better understand these quiet signals your body sends during the night, you can follow me here on this channel. However, the dinner you ate is only one piece of the puzzle. There is a second, more subtle factor involving a specific mistake with evening fluids that changes how blood flows through the kidneys in the early morning. Most people believe their organs are simply resting, but there is a hidden biological rhythm that can either protect those filters or cause them to fail. We're about to uncover how your nighttime routine might be unintentionally accelerating this leakage without you feeling any pain at all. To understand this impact, imagine your kidneys as incredibly sophisticated, microscopic kitchen sieves. Every single minute, they filter your entire blood supply to keep nutrients in and flush waste out. Under normal conditions, these tiny holes are so fine that vital proteins simply cannot pass through. It is like trying to pour large pearls through a fine mesh. The pearls stay safe in your circulation. But when these filters, called glomeruli, become stressed, those tiny holes stretch just enough for protein to slip through into your urine. Once these proteins escape the blood, they change the surface tension of the liquid, much like adding a drop of soap to a sink of water. This is why you see those persistent bubbles. This leakage is known as proteinuria, which is essentially just a way of saying your internal filters are currently leaky. When you see that foam, you are seeing the actual protein that your muscles and organs need to stay strong being washed away because the sieve has lost its tight protective grip. Many people spend years believing that a bubbly stream is just a sign of vigor or a full bladder in the morning. However, we must shift that perspective. Persistent foam is actually a visual clue that your body's pressure management system might be struggling while you sleep. It is a quiet signal that those delicate membranes are being pushed beyond their healthy limits. But there is another detail about our rest that determines if these filters can recover, and it involves a hidden factor almost no one notices. Even when we understand the mechanism of these leaky filters, many people still make a fundamental mistake. They believe that a single day of healthy eating will instantly clear the foam away. However, there is a much more persistent habit that most people over 60 perform every single evening. This mistake doesn't just put pressure on your system, it actually changes the chemistry of your blood while you rest. It creates a silent, invisible cycle that keeps those microscopic sieves stretched open all night long. I recently saw a patient in my clinic who seemed to be doing everything right on the surface. He was active and careful with his diet, yet every morning he was greeted by that same persistent foam. It wasn't until we looked at one seemingly harmless evening ritual that the real cause of his internal stress finally came to light. This specific case perfectly illustrates how a small, hidden detail can speak volumes about your long-term vitality and what truly happens when we finally decide to listen. I remember a patient named Robert, a man in his mid-60s who came to see me for a routine checkup. He felt energetic and healthy, but as we were finishing our session, he mentioned something almost as an afterthought. He said, "Doctor, I've noticed the water in the toilet looks a bit like a glass of beer lately, with a layer of foam that stays there." He laughed it off, assuming it was just a sign of a strong stream. But that small comment changed the entire direction of our conversation. In my experience, when a patient mentions persistent bubbles without any pain, my mind immediately goes to those microscopic filters we discussed earlier. Robert didn't realize that his body was issuing a coded call for assistance. When we ran a simple test, we found that his glomeruli, those tiny sieves in the kidneys, were under constant pressure from a mild, unmanaged rise in his blood pressure that he hadn't even felt. The foam wasn't just a quirk, it was the actual protein his muscles needed, slipping through the gaps. What was most revealing in Robert's case was his evening routine. He enjoyed a specific type of processed snack every night while watching the news, thinking it was a light, harmless treat. However, the hidden salts in that one habit were causing his blood pressure to spike during the night, forcing his kidneys to filter under extreme stress while he slept. It was this invisible nocturnal cycle that was stretching his filtration membranes, making the foam most prominent exactly when he woke up in the morning. Robert's story is far from unique. I see variations of this pattern every week in my clinic. It reminds us that kidney function often declines in total silence, offering very few warnings other than these subtle visual changes in the bathroom. By identifying the correlation between the density of that foam and his metabolic habits, we were able to step in and protect his vitality before any real damage occurred. It shows that developing a clinical eye for your own health is the most powerful tool you have for long-term independence. Since we now recognize the importance of those morning bubbles, we must look at a few common habits that can accidentally make the problem much worse. Many people over 60 believe that more is always better when it comes to muscle health, leading them to consume very high amounts of protein late in the day. While staying strong is vital, flooding your system with protein right before sleep forces those microscopic sieves to work at maximum capacity during their recovery phase. This extra workload can worsen the leakage we call proteinuria, which is simply the medical term for when those vital nutrients slip through the filter. Worth remembering, your kidneys need a lighter load at night to maintain their structural integrity. Another very common habit involves taking certain over-the-counter pills for minor evening aches or to ensure a comfortable night's rest. Many people reach for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs, thinking they are completely harmless because they don't require a prescription. However, these medications can significantly reduce the blood flow to your internal filters, making them more vulnerable to the pressure of the proteins trying to pass through. It is a silent contradiction where you are trying to soothe your body, but you might be unintentionally restricting the very oxygen and nutrients your filtration system needs to repair itself while you sleep. A third mistake I often see is the hidden salt found in meals that appear perfectly healthy, such as canned soups or prepackaged healthy-looking dinners. Even if you aren't using the salt shaker, these processed options are often loaded with sodium to preserve flavor, which causes your body to retain extra fluid and increases your internal pressure. This invisible tension pushes against those delicate membranes all through the night, making the foam much more noticeable when you finally wake up. But there is another detail that almost everyone misses, a tiny change in how you stand or move before bed that can actually reveal even more about your circulation. Finally, many people try to flush their system by drinking massive amounts of water just before getting into bed. While staying hydrated is essential, drinking too much all at once late in the evening can actually overload your circulation, forcing your kidneys to process a huge volume of liquid while your blood pressure is naturally trying to dip. This sudden surge of fluid can put unnecessary stress on those already sensitive filters, potentially increasing the amount of protein that escapes into your urine. It is about finding a balance that supports your body's natural rhythm rather than working against it. But even if you avoid these mistakes, there is one more signal that appears on your skin that most people never link to their internal health. Building on what we've discussed, these microscopic leaks often don't travel alone, and there are other subtle signals you can look for as early as tomorrow morning. You might notice a slight puffiness around your eyes when you first wake up, or find that your socks leave a deeper indentation around your ankles by the end of the day. This fluid retention, which we call edema, happens because when vital proteins escape your blood, liquid seeps into your tissues instead of staying in your vessels. It is a quiet heaviness, often mistaken for a long day, but it is actually your circulation struggling to balance itself while you rest. Beyond these visible changes, you might feel a lingering fatigue, occasional palpitations, or a strange mental fog that doesn't clear easily. Some people describe a persistent coldness in their feet or a restless, heavy sensation in their legs that leads to interrupted sleep. These aren't just signs of aging. They are signals that your internal filtration is affecting your energy and blood chemistry. If you wake up unrefreshed, your body may be working overtime to manage the waste that those leaky filters are failing to process correctly. While these shifts are often gradual, it is crucial to know when a situation requires immediate medical attention. If you experience sudden, significant swelling in your hands or face, persistent shortness of breath, or a sharp decrease in how often you use the bathroom, seek a professional evaluation right away. These red flag symptoms can indicate that the pressure on your system has moved from a simple leak to an urgent state. Taking action early is the most effective way to protect your long-term independence and health. Now that we understand these subtle signals, we can focus on simple ways to support your internal filters, starting tonight. One of the most effective habits involves balancing your hydration throughout the day, rather than flooding your system right before bed. Instead of drinking several large glasses of water in the hour before sleep, try to take small, consistent sips during the morning and afternoon. This steady approach allows your circulation to remain stable without forcing your kidneys to process a sudden, heavy volume of liquid during their natural resting phase. Another vital change involves becoming a detective regarding the hidden salts in your evening meals. It is worth remembering these two simple rules for your final meal of the day. Choose fresh ingredients over prepackaged options whenever possible, and try to replace the salt shaker with natural herbs or lemon juice. By reducing this invisible sodium intake, you lower the nocturnal pressure within those delicate microscopic sieves, giving your body a much better chance to repair its filtration membranes while you sleep peacefully through the night. We should also look at how we distribute our nutrients, especially when it comes to keeping our muscles strong as we age. Instead of consuming a very large portion of protein late in the evening, try to spread your intake across breakfast and lunch. This prevents a sudden surge of waste products that your kidneys must filter out during the night, reducing the likelihood of those persistent morning bubbles. Additionally, a gentle 10-minute walk after dinner can help improve your overall circulation, ensuring that blood flows smoothly and efficiently through your entire system before you lie down. Taking these small, intentional steps isn't about following a rigid protocol or seeking a miracle cure. It is about respecting your body's natural rhythms. By adjusting these routine habits, you are actively decreasing the stress on your internal filters and protecting your long-term vitality. These changes are simple to start and can make a significant difference in how you feel when you wake up each morning. It is truly empowering to realize that by listening to these quiet signals and making small adjustments, you are taking charge of your health and ensuring your independence for many years to come. Understanding these morning signals is about more than just a trip to the bathroom. It is about taking the reins of your own longevity. When you choose to listen to what those quiet bubbles are telling you, you aren't just preventing a problem, you are actively investing in your future energy and independence. These small daily adjustments in your evening routine and hydration are powerful tools that keep your internal filters strong, allowing you to move through your later years with confidence and vitality. If you found this information helpful and want to continue learning how to protect your health as you age, I invite you to follow me here on this channel. My goal is to help you stay informed and empowered every step of the way. I would also love to hear from you. Please write in the comments below which health topic or specific concern you would like me to cover in my next video. Your health journey is a shared one, and I look forward to exploring these important signals together.